Let's talk about boundaries. This is a really important one today, so listen closely. Setting boundaries that actually stick. Let's say it's 9 p.m. Your bad boss just texted you. This is the fourth time it's happened this week, and you felt uncomfortable before, and now's the night that's just something feels off about this and you don't like it, and you're like, something's got to change, something's got to stop. Let me introduce you to boundaries. You keep telling yourself that you're going to set boundaries, but nothing changes. That's because you're setting boundaries wrong. You are making requests when you should be stating facts. Today I'm going to teach you how this group of people that were really smart in the Roman times, they were called the Stoics. I'm going to teach you how they set boundaries. It's not by asking permission. It is by drawing the line. Most people say, I really need you to respect my time after 6 p.m. This is a fundamental mistake. It would be great if you could not text me at night. This is a fundamental mistake. You just asked permission. Your boss heard this is negotiable. Boundaries are not requests. I will explain. Epictetus, in this writing called Enchiridion, sorry, it's Greek, Enchiridion. Here, we're gonna all learn together.
Enchiridion.
There you go, Enchiridion. Epictetus, around 125 AD, he taught, no man is free who is not master of himself. You cannot be free if you're asking others for permission to have limits. This is a modernized phrase of that. It's not a direct quote, but it's a perfect summary of what the principles he was writing about were. You can't depend on others for happiness. Epictetus taught that whoever would be free, let him wish for nothing, let him decline nothing, which depends on others, else he must necessarily be a slave. So by asking for permission or validation from others, you make your own well-being and sense of freedom dependent on their approval, desires, or judgment. The price of approval. Epictetus uses the analogy of a dinner party. If you're not invited, it is because you did not pay the social price for it, such as flattery or showing up, like attendance. You cannot expect a reward without paying the price. And you must decide whether that price is worth your own integrity. Your limits and boundaries are part of your integrity, and you must decide them for yourself, not seek external validation. You have to guard your inner sanctuary. When you allow others to dominate your thoughts, you are giving away the very thing that is yours to control. Seeking permission to set your own limits is a surrender of that internal control. A boundary, going back to boundaries, is not a request. It is a statement. Not, please respect my evenings. It is, I don't check work messages after 6 p.m. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations written around 170 AD, said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Your boundary is your decision. It's not theirs to grant. When you say, I need you to respect my time, you're giving away power. When you say, I'm not available after 6 p.m., you are taking that power back. Inform, don't ask. There's 3 elements, okay? You have to have all 3 elements in order for boundaries to work. Element 1 is clarity, consistency, consequences. Those are the 3, okay? If you miss one of these elements, the whole concept of setting the boundary collapses. Clarity. Be specific. Not, I need work-life balance. That's a meaningless statement. Instead, say, I don't respond to messages between 6 p.m. and 8 a.m. Or, I take my full lunch break. 30 minutes? You are not working during those 30 minutes. You are up, you are away from your desk, you are eating, and you are enjoying your real life for 30 minutes. If you get an hour, hey, that's awesome if you get an hour. You could also say, I don't work weekends without advance agreement. Socrates said in 399 BC, it was probably written down by Plato, the beginning of wisdom is the definition of terms. Define your boundary precisely. The second element is consistency. You set the boundary Monday. If the boss texts Wednesday night, if you respond to it, that boundary is dead. Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. Every exception teaches the other person to ignore your rules. So every time you break your boundary, you train your bad boss that it doesn't matter. So there are no exceptions. The third element is consequences. A boundary without consequences is just a wish. What will you do when it's crossed? If your bad boss texts you at 9 p.m., the consequence is you respond at 8 a.m. the next day. If they schedule you over your blocked time, you decline the meeting. Weekend work without asking first, you say, I'm not available this weekend. I can start Monday morning. The consequence is within your control, and that's the entire point. Okay, the language that you can use here. Here are exact phrases. These are statements. They're not requests. Here are the phrases. I am not available after 6 p.m. Don't say, I'd prefer not to. You have to state the fact. Okay? Here's another one. I respond to messages during business hours. I don't check email on weekends. I take lunch from 12:30 to 1 or 12 to 1. I am at capacity and can't take on additional projects. Notice no if that's okay, or I hope you understand, or sorry but. No apologizing. Okay, don't apologize for setting limits here. This other dude called Seneca on the shortness. This writing that he wrote is on the shortness of life, and that was at 49 A.D. He said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." So you are imagining that your bad boss is going to explode. But the reality is most of them will adjust. They just have no choice if you state it like a fact. If they push back, and they probably will, don't negotiate. Just repeat the statement, okay? If your bad boss says, but I need this tonight, you say, I'm not available after 6. I can have it first thing tomorrow morning. There's no debate. There's no justification. It's information and the alternative. Managing their reaction. Your bad boss might get angry. They might pressure you. They might make it uncomfortable. A quote from Epictetus says, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. So you control your boundary. You cannot control their reaction. Their reaction is not your responsibility. Marcus Aurelius dealt with senators and generals pushing back daily. He wrote, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Your boundary is right and true. Maintain it regardless of their reaction. The worst case is they fire you. If they fire you for reasonable boundaries, you needed to leave anyway. It's better to find out now than to waste years being available 24/7 for someone who doesn't respect your basic humanity and your setting of boundaries, which is your right to do. The gradual build. Okay, so if you've been completely boundaryless, don't build a huge wall overnight. There was this other philosopher that you've heard of, Aristotle. Nicomachean Ethics around 340 BC taught habituation, that building virtue was a gradual process. Gradually. You start with one boundary. You master it, then you add another. So the first week, I don't respond after 8 p.m. By the third week, you say, I take my lunch break daily. Week 5, no weekend work without Wednesday agreement. One boundary at a time. Each kept boundary teaches your boss the new normal, and it teaches you that you can do it. So tomorrow, stop explaining yourself, stop defending, stop giving them ammunition. Today, pick one boundary, write it down, state it like a fact, and keep it. That's how this starts. Comment below if you've enjoyed the video, and also what boundary are you setting this week? Say that out loud to yourself. All right. If you've enjoyed the content, give it a like and a share. Appreciate you. I just appreciate you guys watching too.